What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and happy Father's Day. I wanted to make this video because I made a video last year where I told a story about my dad that was very near and dear to me, and it felt really good for me. So I wanted to make another video this year purely because it kind of hit me a bit harder this year that it was Father's Day. I had a lot going on in my head, and this is a really good way for me to, I guess, get out there, and I want to use it to do something that's positive for people that maybe are going through the same thing or have been through the same thing, or even just people who are struggling with something that may be completely different, but it's about how you can deal with it. So for those of you that don't know, my dad passed away when I was 15 years old. Just to a random heart attack. There was no real reason for it. It just happened. It was completely out of the blue, and it shocked me and my family very much. Now, I'm not going to go into all the sadness and all that stuff. I'm just going to get straight to the point. Obviously, when something like that happens, it's very brutal, and it's very hard to take, because someone that you love, someone that you care about, is just suddenly gone. Such a big part of your life, especially for me and my dad who were like that. But when something like that happens, whether that is losing your dad, or whether that is losing a parent, whether that is losing anyone, whether that is just going through a very difficult time, maybe something that is very, very hard to get through. It can be addiction, it can be anything. It's about how you react to it and how you respond to it. Because when my dad passed, I reacted very well to begin with. I started really getting into the gym. I started doing well in school. Like, I really wanted to focus on getting my grades. But then I realized how it was kind of hitting me a bit harder when I started to get into a lot of bad things, and that's kind of the two paths you can take. You can use it for a very, very positive way. You can use it in a very positive way, or you can use it in a very negative way. And I always wanted to use it, and I still do use it as a very positive thing when I think about my dad, when I think about all the memories we had, when I think about when he sadly passed. But there was a point where I was going down a very dark road, and it's very easy when things like this happen to go down a very dark road. It can become a very easy crutch. That's what I view it as. People that go through these things, it can be very easy to use it as a crutch. Oh, I did something bad because this person passed away. It can, and I did that for a while in my own head. I didn't really say it out loud to anyone. I did it in my own head. I justified what I did because I was going through this horrible thing, which is fair to an extent, but that only takes you so far. Not even takes you, you only get away with it for so long. Eventually you keep feeling sorry for yourself, and you get to a point where, no one cares. No one cares that, just because this happened to you and something bad happens doesn't mean it gives you the right. It doesn't give you an excuse to be a bad person or not do something with yourself. And I realized that very early on when I was making these mistakes. I'm not going to go into detail because it's my own personal thing, but eventually I started using it in a much more, well, I started using it in a positive way, then I had a kind of bad point, and then I kept going. And one thing, especially for the people who have lost their dad, or even, I'm going to speak specifically to people who lost their dad, you have to remember that your dad would not want you to wallow in self-pity and not do anything with yourself. My dad especially, my dad would kick me right up the fucking arse if he saw me, lying around or not doing anything that would benefit me. Of course there's time to grieve. You have to grieve. I still grieve. I think for those people that say, you'll probably hear quite a lot of people say, oh, it gets easier, it gets easier. I don't agree with that. I don't feel any less upset that my dad is dead than when it just happened. I'm able to accept it a bit better, but it still upsets me a lot, hence why I'm making this video. You have to remember that that person, if you cared a lot about them, you would keep going and you would try and make the best of it, I think. My dad is the inspiration behind Make a Decision Fitness. He showed me a way of life where he would just, if he wanted something, he would decide to do it and he got it done, and that was it. And I believe if more people had that attitude, they would succeed so much more. And since I have taken on that attitude more, where If I want something, I put in action to do it and I keep working until I do, and it's worked wonders. It's amazing. And that's the kind of lifestyle I know my dad would want me to live. And I know that for a lot of you, if you've gone through the same thing or are going through something like that, you have to remember that. Don't slip into what I'd call the easier route of choosing to use it as a crutch or an excuse to almost ruin your life. Honestly, it could have been that easy for me. I've been there. It's hard, but that's not what my dad would have wanted. That's not what I wanted, and now I have the satisfaction of knowing, like, I do believe, and I do hear it quite a lot, and I'm not being big-headed about it. I do hear quite a lot that, my dad would be proud of me, and I do believe he would, but I always say the same thing: I've done nothing yet. And what I mean by that is, my dad might be proud of me, but if I just suddenly sat back in my chair and was just like, oh yeah, this is great, then I would lose that, if that makes sense. You have to keep getting better, because that I don't just want to make him proud, I want to keep making him even prouder, if that makes sense. And I want that idea to be in your guys' heads as well. Because if you keep just feeling sorry for yourself and time keeps going by, you'll find yourself my dad passed away. Yeah, my dad passed away nearly 6 years ago now. 6 years in September, and if I had just sat there for that 6 years and kept going the way I actually was going at one point, my life would be an absolute fucking misery. And that would only enhance that sad feeling I have towards maybe, this day, for example. I view my, days like this, Father's Day and his birthday and the day he passed, as a very positive day, because it reminds me of the fact that I did have him, not the fact that I lost him, the fact that I got that opportunity to be his son and live that life with him. The time we had together was special. But if you start being miserable with it and you start using it as that crutch, it can become a very negative day. I can see how people will view it as very sad. And I don't ever want to view it like that. I said it at my dad's funeral. I wanted everyone there to look back or remember my dad and be able to smile. And I can smile, but I do cry. Of course I cry. But you have to use it in a positive way. Please don't go down that dark path, and don't allow it or use it as a crutch. Use it as inspiration. Use it as a fire. I can't tell you how much, even when I get that negative feeling, when I miss him, when it hurts, and I put it into something, when I put it into my videos, when I put it into my passion, when I put it into the gym, when I put it into my work, when I am struggling and I look and I see this picture sitting here, up there looking at me, that's my dad right there. When I see his face looking at me, I remember not to give up. I remember not to quit. I remember the way he raised me to be, and the way he would want me to be. And I want you to remember that. And if you're going through a hard time at the moment, maybe something bad's happened to you, please use it. Not as a crutch, use it as fuel for the fire. And I promise you, it doesn't get easier, but you get better with it. That's all I'm going to say. Happy Father's Day. Tell your dad you love them. Tell him how much you appreciate them, because I tell you what, I'd love to have mine back to be able to tell him that. Ellie Vlogs will be back next. This is just a video mainly for me. If you enjoyed it, I hope you did, or if you took something from it. Just decide, make a decision.